Okay, so here they are. How beautiful are the colors. So if I will tilt, hopefully you'll see where you have a little bit of a gloss, that's still wet paint, but when it dries to completely matte. So can you see Schmincke, for instance, here has a bit of a, where there was a lot of the pigment, because it's also honey based, it gets a bit of that glistening of the paint, so if it's really built up. And it happens in other watercolors as well, but not all of them. And but here, in comparison, completely matte, whichever way you look at it. So if I just show you the little marks you can make. Now, I am really new to gouache. This is sort of the only, experience I have is this acrylic gouache, so I have nothing else to compare it to. But I found that sometimes, depending on the color of this acrylic gouache and depending on the pencil as well, that sometimes the pencil wouldn't grab onto it as much. And I'm thinking, could that be because it's the acrylic paint element of it? Obviously acrylic is kind of like a plasticky paint. Once it dries, it's also permanent, but it dries to a different surface where things can glide off easily, so it wouldn't grip onto, so it wouldn't have like a tooth, if that makes sense. Whereas I find that gouache, because of the pigment and how it dries, like a traditional gouache, I don't know, Winsor Newton designer's gouache or something like that, it is more toothy for that reason. If you are watching and you had the experience with both, do let us know in the comments, because I have a guess, or I'm going to take a guess that is why. And I really want to try some of the Winsor Newton designer gouache colors. I have a feeling that that's what it is. So if I then go over here, it basically grabs onto the tooth of the paper, because I just have watercolor here with, gum arabic. It's very thin, so it's not going to change much of the paper, and so the pencil really grabs onto it like it would grab onto the paper. But if I wanted to have that bit of, in one of the last videos that I made, I showed you a picture of the Molotov paint pens and how the Luminance was just gripping onto it because it created that bit of a rougher texture. But there is a kind of slightly sliding feel on the acrylic. I don't know, it feels like it's gripping very nicely, but it feels a lot drier here on the paper. So of course these are still layerable. You can still layer the paint with the pencils, or the pencils on top of the paint, but I just think that compared to like a traditional gouache, you might get more detail if you wanted to. So that is it. And then I'm thinking, since I have a bit of space, I'll just create a larger swatch here, let it dry, and then maybe we'll just do a bit of pattern work. Why not? A bit of dry brushing here and then. Alright, I think that will do. So I'm just going to dry it, and then we're going to come back and just do a bit of mark making with the Misty Blue on top of it. The neutral tint should be now nice and dry. And I picked two brushes here. So this brush has been really beautiful to use with the acrylic gouache because it's sort of tapered at the end. It's got a rounder edge. It's a perfect little lip brush. So I use it to create nice lip shapes because it's round. It's very helpful. It's small, and so I can also create some nice little accessory kind of mark making, and that's the brush I will use today. And also the very tiny one, which is a 40 round brush. So this is 1/8 and this is 40, just for little dots and things. So this one is the Jackson's Pure Sable, and this one is Pro Art Proline Plus. So let's get the Misty Blue. Quite often there is enough bit of color in the cup, and that's what I do. So I tend to just wet my brush slightly and mostly get it kind of just damp feeling, but not wet. So I just take the excess water on a bit of tissue or something, and then I could create little marks just by pushing the brush, and I'm getting some lovely dry brush marks. And I could make a few more like so. Or I could create little dashes like that. Or I could try and create some little polka dots of some sort. So let's have a look. So something like that. Maybe I'll just go all the way to the end. So there you go. Looks a bit like snow. And then what you can also do, so you can squeeze out a bit of this paint like so. And then get a liner brush. So this is a Princeton 2. Get it nice and wet. For this sort of a thing, you'll need a fair amount of water to get it nice and wet. Otherwise, it'd be just drying and dragging. If you want nice kind of lines, you need a bit of water, and then you can get these fine lines. There you go. Really pretty. It's still going, which is great. So there you go. Obviously they're not as opaque because we don't have that much gouache in there, but if you want it more opaque, you just basically keep on going into the paint, and then you get this more opaque look to it. So that was little play, And that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the color palette here. Maybe some of the mediums are new to you as well, like the Acryla Gouache. But that's it. So thanks for watching and see you soon.